Can you sort of itemize like what in this movie is true and maybe what isn't? You know, what they sort of Hollywoodize.
Yeah,
and
you know,
what,
I don't know if that's that fun a game, just because there's like they change a lot to make the storyline work, right? But there's so many elements of the story that are so dead on, and I mean specific scenes and specific moments where I faced the exact same thing that those characters faced. You know, perfect example of something that's not. I mean, my dad is still alive. He was really upset to find out when he saw the premiere that he's since passed away. You know, you know, I wasn't necessarily doing this and trying to make money for medical school. I was just doing it because my friends were doing it. I thought it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the first time that I flew into Vegas, I made the exact same face that Jim made when, you know, he looks out the window and sees the strip. And I did, you know, end up starting to get so sucked into my Vegas world that, you know, I would wear those stupid white pants that Jim wore when he was coming out of the car. And, you know, so it's like there's all these kind of things that are so, you know, eerily similar and right on with the story, that it seems like, oh, it's kind of silly to focus on, well, this detail was slightly different or this detail was slightly different.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, what would you say is sort of the lesson that you learned from the experience that, you know, sort of enabled you to be able to sort of extricate yourself from it? I mean, like you said, you sort of got really absorbed in it for a long time.
Yeah. You know, I think the lessons that I learned were how important the teamwork and the trust between the teammates were, because when things were going well for us, we had incredible trust and, you know, incredible camaraderie. But when things started falling apart, there was a lot of infighting and people didn't trust each other. And so now, actually, when people ask me, what do you miss most about those days? I actually miss the camaraderie the most.
Well, you know, what was sort of the most, I mean, just talking about the things, whether or not it was accurate or not, what was sort of maybe the most exciting thing to see? Was it just like sort of the whole movie? Was there like a moment that you felt like they really nailed perfectly? Or
you know, I loved the end. I thought the end was so exciting. I think that the idea of, you know, like how well Jim is able to sort of like capture the idea of this like two worlds kind of dichotomy that he was going through, and almost the sort of egomaniacal run he goes through at one point where he really says, you know, I can lead this team. And actually my favorite line from the whole movie is when Kate says, you know, in Vegas you can be anything you want to be. I think that line hopefully will be one of the most, you know, quoted lines from this movie.
well, what have you been doing since sort of this experience?
You know, I went to start a couple companies. I now run a company called Citizen Sports Network, and it's a sports media business. We have a couple properties. One's called ProTrade.com, which is next generation fantasy sports, and another's actually called Double Play TV, where we have some pretty cool web video up there. Actually, some that teaches you how to count cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you could go count cards in Vegas after watching this.
Well, I mean, are you able to sort of detachedly like go and gamble now, or? I mean,
Yeah, it's really just education. I mean, not education. It's really just fun now. It's entertainment. I just go play craps or do whatever and just have fun. Back in those days, I was always coming to Vegas. It was a work trip. Now I'm coming. It's a vacation.
Well, does your reputation precede you for the most part, or are you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely get a lot of attention if I try to sit down at a blackjack table.